Does he make a lot of bad decisions? Yes. Yes, he does. Does he leave a lot of questions unanswered? Yes. Yes, he does. Does he continually run synods that make absolutely no sense for purposes that none of us have any clue what they are, just probably associated with his connections with the Gallon Mafia and, you know, problems with incursion into the Catholic Church, of putting, you know, gays who are openly, you know, evil into the church so that they can become priests who are then, maybe, we don't know, but Pope Francis isn't that bad. Welcome to Rise Up Jerusalem, the show where I talk about random Catholic stuff. At this point, I don't even know what this channel is, but I know that today we're going to talk about the big drama that's coming up, the Amazon Synod. I've had a lot of people DMing me saying, hey, what do you think is going to happen with this Synod? Where is it going to go? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? What's going to come out of it? And honestly, at the end of the day, I honestly have no clue what's going to happen because I had no idea what was going to happen with the Marriage and Family Synod, and I was shocked by what happened with the Youth Synod, so I have no clue what's going to happen with this one. So I'm just going to give kind of my ideas and thoughts. We're only in like day 3. It's only started on Monday, so it's not that big of a deal. But a lot of things have already happened, and so I kind of want to talk about that and then say why I'm actually not worried about the Amazon Synod. Also, I have glasses now. It's kind of annoying, but it works. So the Amazon Synod, what's it all about? Now, the Synod for Family one or so, what was happening? It was talking about family. The Synod for Youth was supposed to be talking about youth. The Synod for the Amazon, I guess it's talking about how if you don't have Amazon Prime at this point, you're just missing out on a great deal. In reality, the core 5 issues they're going to talk about are the need for a church that goes forth in enculturation and interculturality, witness against ecological destruction, the urbanization of the Amazon region, and lack of access to clean drinking water. Now, I'm gonna be real, why we have to have a synod for this, which is, you know, normally in history a huge deal, a big thing, I have no idea. I don't understand why we have to have so many synods. And before I go any further, I am legally required to disclaim that I don't think Pope Francis is the Antichrist, because a lot of people have been saying that this is the coming that was foretold in Revelation, and that if we all don't start praying the rosary now, we're all gonna go to hell, and it's all gonna be the worst thing ever, we're all gonna die, and it's just gonna be so bad. No, Pope Francis is not the Antichrist. Does he make a lot of bad decisions? Yes. Yes, he does. Does he leave a lot of questions unanswered? Yes. Yes, he does. Does he continually run synods that make absolutely no sense for purposes that none of us have any clue what they are, just probably associated with his connections with the Gallon Mafia and, you know, problems with incursion into the Catholic Church, of putting, you know, gays who are openly, you know, evil into the church so that they can become priests who are then, maybe, we don't know, but Pope Francis isn't that bad of a guy. And if we want to have a meeting and discuss all of the issues of the cultural stuff that's going on in the Amazon, that's fine. I don't understand why we have to have the entire church involved in this kind of stuff. Makes no sense to me. But I do know that what they're supposed to be talking about is the needs of the Amazonian indigenous people. And that's cool. Let's talk about that. If they need to be helped, let's talk about that. It's fantastic. Cool. Let's have a conversation about their issues. Let's look at their issues. You know, the list is the urbanization of the Amazon region, ecological disaster, lack of access to clean drinking water. It's all great. What about the church that goes forth? That's kind of one of those things is not like the other. This is where people are getting scared of the number one big thing that's the ultimate terror that people know is going to come out of this synod. Changes into the rule of who can become a priest. A lot of people are saying, oh, well, women are now going to be allowed to be priests. A lot of people are saying, oh, now married men are going to be allowed to be priests. Honestly, I have no clue what's going to happen at this point. Every synod has been just a crapshoot of what's actually going to come out of it. You synod, I thought it was going to be end. It was going to be awful. It was going to ruin the church. And then nothing happened. Probably because of all the priestly abuse scandals. Kind of puts a damper on things when you're, you know, when that happens. Like I was supposed to go on Raymond Arroyo and do a second interview about the youth synod and do like a youth papal posse, and then the sex abuse scandal happened. That kind of took up the news story for a while. Shocking, I know, and that's why a lot of people are asking the questions now, what is the Amazonian synod gonna do about priesthood? Okay, so they wouldn't be asking this if the German bishops weren't already talking about this en masse. Now, if you notice that saying German bishops was laced with concern is because the German bishops are probably some of the worst bishops. Like, take the worst bishops in the United States and multiply them by 500, then you get like the least bad German bishop. And of course, there are outliers who are good, but the majority of German bishops have already said, look, we disagree with the church's teaching on 90% of stuff, including homosexual marriage, including remarriage and divorce, like all those laws of communion reception. We disagree with the church's acceptance of who should be allowed to be priests or not. Every single thing that like JP2 stood for, they stand against. Good times, right? Also just want to point that out, JP2 is probably really concerned right now praying for all of us, so At least we got that going for us. And certain German bishops have said things like, oh, this synod will determine who follows the rules and who follows love, which is a very concerning statement. And in the opening statements of the synod, Cardinal Humes, how do you pronounce that name? Cardinal Humes says that during consultations they had before the synod with indigenous communities, faced with the urgent need experienced by most of the Catholic communities in Amazonia, they requested that the path be opened for the ordination of married men resident in their communities. But it doesn't just stop there. He also said that faced with a great number of women who nowadays lead communities in the Amazon, there is a request that this service be acknowledged and there be an attempt to consolidate it with a suitable ministry for them. So anybody who's saying the whole concern with, oh, well, there's gonna be women priests are just completely out of their rocker, no, there is very valid concern here. Finally, he said the church needs to throw open her doors, knock down the walls surrounding her, and build bridges, going out into the world and setting out on a path of history. Now, I agree with the concept of modernizing the church in the ways that we communicate. So what JP2 said, we have to not ask the question of can the modern man understand the gospel, but how to use modern communication tools to preach the gospel to him. I'm all for modernizing that aspect of the church and making sure that bulletins still don't look like they're out of the 1980s, and the USCCB can finally update its art and not make it look like this very odd children's graphic that's actually supposed to be an official picture. Let's modernize that. We don't need to re-ask questions about who is allowed to receive communion, what is sin, who is allowed to be married. Basically, we shouldn't be getting to the point or even think that we're getting to the point where somebody who is a gay divorcee who also is pro-abortion is allowed to be a priest. That we shouldn't get to that point. Now, a lot of the bishops are even saying the most absurd statement ever. Are you ready for this? I want you to take your hands, put them onto your chair, and hold on tight. They're saying the conditions in modernity are simply too difficult to sustain the church's moral teaching and her discipline, whether involving priestly celibacy or divorce and remarriage for lay people. Yeah, isn't that the point? It's not meant to be easy. If it was meant to be easy, everyone would be Catholic. The Catholic Church is about doing what's hard, because that's what leads to sanctity. I don't understand why these German bishops don't understand this, and these Amazonian bishops are all asking the same question. Ow. Also, I have my heat press right here, and I smacked my arm, and that really hurt. So you're probably thinking, Connor, what's gonna happen? Is the church gonna go into schism? Not so fast. Now, schism is a thing that can happen, one that is very likely because of all the stuff I just mentioned. But at the end of the day, it's the question of, will the church actually break apart? And there are issues, yes, where the bishops are saying things that are definitely not Catholic, and the fact that they're bishops makes it even more concerning. But at the end of the day, I don't think the church will go into schism because of this, because just like every other synod, there's going to be a few things that are said that aren't going to be huge. Let's recap. With the Marriage and the Family Synod, it was the whole concept of divorce and remarried can receive communion, and that divorce is fine, you can get remarried, and there's nothing wrong with it if you don't get it. That whole issue. That was the only thing to come out of it. Everything else was just gobbledygook. Now we go to the Youth Synod. I thought it was going to be awful because, you know, we have all of this talk about, hey, what do we do with Muslim youth and how do we treat Protestant youth, which is a conversation we need to have, but we also need to have a conversation about how to treat Catholic youth because we are not happy. The only thing to come out of it was, God loves you. Thanks, Pope Francis. Appreciate that. There wasn't any steps taken, there wasn't any further development of it, nothing happened. And so yeah, maybe the big question of this is they're going to say, well, we're opening the door to the question of whether women can be priests if they're leaders in their community. So I guess Mother Teresa could have been a priest under this, which makes no sense whatsoever. But are any actions going to be taken that are going to change the church? No. This is why, even though I am wary of the synod's results and I'm very concerned about what the bishops are saying, what the Pope is saying, all this stuff, I'm not worried that we're going to break into schism after this. And a lot of people are even calling for schism, saying, oh, we should have a schism, I'll fix the church right up. Please don't do that. Don't ask for that. That's like when Bill Maher said, you know what, we should go into a recession because at least that would kick out Donald Trump. Don't wish for things that would hurt people. Don't do that. That's a very bad thing. If the church does go into schism, then it's going to be a very interesting time to be Catholic. But honestly, I think what's going to happen is it's going to confuse a lot of people, cause even more confusion in the church, and then nothing's really going to happen. I mean, when you start off your synod by praising Greta Thunberg that you have stolen my childhood chick.
You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen. I don't think a schism is actually going to happen. I think what's going to happen is we're going to start to have two churches, people who are actually following the rules schools of theology and the faith and the catechism, and those who are following the loving aspect of these German Brazilian bishops and Pope Francis. It's not going to be an actual schism of a break apart of the church, but it may be more of an internal schism where you see certain churches becoming cliques that like follow Francis and those who don't. Not in like specific ways, but in more of what they believe. Some stand with truth. It's like what the German bishop says. Some who will stand with the truth of the faith, and some who will stand with their ideas of what the truth of faith is. Either way, it's going to be interesting. I'm probably not invited. I doubt I'm allowed to go down there and do anything because the last one I got in trouble for apparently intended to add on to a document to give more context for the desires of myself and my peers as something that annoys bishops and cardinals. But we'll see what happens. Life tight. Hit me up. I'll come down and do a whole vlog series down there. That wasn't a joke. Any Catholic companies want to sponsor me going down there to Brazil and doing a series on the Synod? I'm super down. Let's go. But thank you everybody so much for watching. We're finally back doing some of our old school videos. This is almost a return to form. This was like the style I used to do before I got into all the businessy stuff, and I'm still going to be doing businessy stuff. I'm not setting a plan for myself. Whenever I want to do a video, I'll do it and I'll put it out that day. That's going to be my plan. That's how I'm going to do it. Hopefully none of this was confusing and deserves a papal dubia. But thank you everybody so much for watching. Check out all my other episodes. Don't forget to subscribe, like, all that nonsense, just so that you follow, because subscriptions are a weird number that apparently means something in this world. And thank you everybody so much for watching. Let's wrap this up. And remember, as it was in the beginning, is now, never shall be, rise up and live.